Welcome back to the Fallen Giants podcast, back to part two. Obviously, part one, if you have, check that out, please. It's on our channel. Show some love by hitting that like button and subscribe. And this is part two, where we got a bit carried away with the time and went overtime. So we now need to delve into Chelsea, Tottenham, and Liverpool.
Yeah.
How you doing, guys?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Well, there was a lot of energy there. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm ready. Positivity.
No, mate, I'm sorry. I was just getting the Premier League table up to see how low down everyone was. Hold on.
That's the thing. Everyone you've just mentioned is so low.
Fucking hell. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I mean, yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. Spurs. Not necessarily so low. They're just behind United, aren't they?
Yeah, actually, they're on.
They're 2 points behind, aren't they?
Game in hand. Game in hand. Game in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of them. We don't take Spurs serious. It's going to come back to but we don't take Spurs seriously, though. We don't. Chaz is the only one that took him seriously.
You did as well.
Chaz's face.
Yeah, I do still take him seriously in this top four race. Yeah. They're well and truly in this top four race still.
Well, let's get into Spurs.
They've been
perfectly way to get into Spurs. Go on.
Yeah, they've been having an absolute nightmare of a season, and they're 2 points off fourth.
I don't get how they are in the position that they're in the table, to be fair.
I'll tell you why, Ollie. We had this when we had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, yeah. They have individual quality that gets them out of games at times, yeah. So as much... I don't know how much you can give credit to Conte. I don't know. Maybe you can. You lot can find a way to give credit to him in this.
I don't think we can give any credit to Conte. I think Conte's the problem.
What do you think, Chaz? Go on. Your arch rivals.
Do you think they'd be much better off if they got rid of him right now?
Yeah. He's not fit for the club.
I don't know if they would be, though.
Really depends on the manager.
I sort of agree that potentially for a long-term sort of thing that he's not... That, like, if you were going to say, right, to improve the club over the next 3 years, is it with Conte or without? I'd probably say without. But for this season right now, the current state, the current squad, I don't know if there's many managers that can take them much further right now that they can even get.
I just think he's stubborn. That's all it is. He's just down to his stubbornness that's holding them back.
That's what I mean. Like, Conte's a short-term manager, right? He's deemed as a short-term manager. Whether he is or whether he isn't is up for debate. But he's come in, not hit the ground running, has done well, to be fair, like last season
last season he done well to get them top four from where they was. I
think he was and everyone else was expecting them to really push for the title this season.
No.
They were the position that we're in.
We didn't.
I wouldn't have said title. We put Arsenal ahead of them in the thing.
In the predictions.
Yeah, but they should have been battling for spaces then, let's say. And it just feels like what Conte had been brought in to do, to win the trophies and do everything in a short period of time, which is what I thought he was in for, which is how he thrives, it just isn't working. I don't believe that's what Tottenham needs. That's the reason that it's not a fit. That's the reason why the football's shit. That's the reason why fans aren't on board.
The football is shit. The football's crap.
It just isn't working. The relationship isn't working. And that doesn't stem from like the players or anything like that. It kind of stems from the manager and the club. And if the manager and the club aren't on the same page, it's like we were talking about Arsenal the other day. If the manager and the club aren't on the same page, then it doesn't work. The fans aren't included. The football's shit. Everyone's not happy. That's what it feels like Tottenham are in at the minute. It feels like they need a project.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think me and Chaz, when Conte was first appointed, we were kind of quite, we were probably backing Conte a bit more than you was. I know Malison, well, we haven't had him on for a while. When we next get him back on, I'm sure I would love to hear his thoughts on it, in a sense that he was very pro Conte. Remember the last time we had him?
Yeah. I think he still is, as far as
I don't know if he is. I'm not sure. We'll see. But maybe he'll blindly back him. But I think it feels like there's a certain inevitability that he's going to leave, and it's just lingering over the club and the players at the minute. And because he hasn't committed and he signed that original 18-month contract when he first took over, you just never felt from the get-go that if things were to go wrong and not go swimmingly for him, you knew there was going to be issues there as well.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel stable in it. It doesn't feel like a stable club right now with him there.
No, that's why I mentioned like the whole project thing. It's chucked out there now, but they need more stability than anything else. And I just feel like people don't know if Conte's going to be there in a few months' time. So it feels like they haven't got that. That's probably why the football's struggling as well.
What do you think, Chaz? Have you been harsh on them, or is it one of the? I don't know.
No, I agree with the football take. It is bad, and that's them. The thing is with the fans is a lot of them wanted and were so wowed that they could get this manager. Now, the football's worse than it's ever been under Conte. I'm not saying that he has played good football in the past in his teams that he's had, but they always were going to have this sort of defensive shape or the five at the back and all stuff like that. The way they play football is on the counter and stuff like that. So I don't know why there was an illusion that he was going to just go and play like Barcelona football, the old Pep Guardiola, that's just total football. But I don't know if we're being harsh on the sense that last season they, with Conte, managed to kick into gear and beat Arsenal to a top 4 race. So why would they not be able to do that this season?
Oh, what you mean? Not Arsenal, you mean the other teams that are competing for it?
Yeah.
I still, do you know what?
With Kane scoring and that,
maybe
obviously Son's having a bit of a nightmare, but
yeah, Son's had an absolutely shocking season. We have to address that because that that's someone that Ollie was all right up his arse as well the whole time. You were bigging Son up so much. We were talking about best Premier League. We've done a best Premier League team, and Son's had a shocker this season.
Yeah,
really
nice.
Him and Salah are on the same page.
No. Salah's been better than Son. Salah's been better than Son. Yeah.
No, in terms of how far they've fallen.
Salah's fallen, but just Son has gone off a cliff. Yes, completely. Like he has been horrific as a footballer. I could name about 20 better wingers this season, at least. So it's just, I don't know. I find it's a very weird enigma that Spurs are at the minute. It's a very weird kind of dilemma to dissect. I feel like it's. You're right, Chaz. I think they may be there and about, but it feels like, as I said, the writing is always going to be on the wall until he does leave. That's the only thing I'll say. But ultimately, he's brought in to win a trophy. That was the main thing. Spurs have had that hoodoo over them for some years now.
And that's why I don't understand why the EFL, they didn't take that more seriously.
Who did they go out to? Oh, they went out to bloody Forest. Yeah, they went to Forest.
But that's why I don't think that they are going to have sustained success for at least a while. Like the closest they got was under Poch. And now you're hearing rumbles of like Spurs fans wanting Poch back.
Yeah.
It's the club's decision to be short term and go, okay, well, Poch isn't working. We'll get him out. We'll get Mourinho in because he's a proven winner or whatever. It's the going for the proven winners. I think Nuno was a bit of a
but you could argue back, and that's not to back up Spurs fans though. But even under Poch, he managed to do brilliant in my opinion, and the football was amazing, and he got them to a Champions League final. But he didn't really win a lot. Do you know what I mean? So there was an argument that they wanted this because they wanted to go down a new route because they tried the project.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But I think
Mourinho not that, or like as in where they wanted to win something kind of manager, that kind of short-term manager to win them trophies, isn't it?
Mourinho was. Mourinho was.
I think they're so impatient though, as a club and as a fan base, that they call for short-term success. But if you kept Poch on for another 2 seasons, who's to tell where they would have been? They weren't declining because they were getting into Champions League finals. They were putting good football on the pitch. They were placing.
No, they were declining. They were declining at the end of Poch's time. I remember them losing 3-0 to Brighton. That was his last game. They weren't doing too good. That start of the season after the Champions League, they were really bad.
Then you could just put that. You potentially put that down to a lull, and that happens. Like, that happens,
of course.
I just think they're so short-sighted that they want it so much, like the Mourinho, the Conte and stuff. But when it actually happens, it's not fit. It doesn't fit. It doesn't feel
I think Spurs.
Go on.
I think Spurs are a big. I think that they're a club that they're like a big club potentially on the rise. Like I think that with the new stadium is potentially the best in the world. Yeah, they the way they market themselves, where they've got them artists perform there, they've got NFL, they've got partnerships with NFL executives. They had a really good turnover last summer of profit and things like they're based in London. Everything seems to point to them. They should be. They've got Antonio Conte, which is a household name. It feels like they should be massive. Like they feel like they're on the right track, but they just haven't got the right owner potentially, or just chairman to try and put it all together. Like I don't know what you think, but I think Spurs have a real potential to be a big club, but they're just not fulfilling it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. You are right. They should be. They should be.
The issue I've got with it though is like, and I'm not saying this, I probably would, if I was the owner and you asked me how they should go down, I would say the project route, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if football's gone into that mode where that's the only thing that can work now at the moment. Everyone's seeing the Arteta projects, the Howe projects. Even I've just done a video where I'm talking about what they should do with Potter and stuff like that. Like, this did also work for someone like Chelsea, where they went more short term and they got manager after manager and got success. So I'm not saying it will work under Conte, but I just don't want to get away from the fact that you have to go for young managers that build off.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Ollie says about this. Is everything project based now, or can you find solutions other than a project, a long process?
Because let's be honest, if Conte had won a trophy or quickly, or he won something this year, say, that's the only missing piece from them being a big club, because they've never won anything.
Yeah, I think there's two things there. The first one being that the answer to the question is yes, that there still has a place in football. I don't think that will die, but I think that the football has to be good enough to sustain that. So someone needs to come in. Take Tuchel when he first came into Chelsea, right? And when they won the Champions League, they were playing good football. He had players that obviously he hadn't signed, but he was just getting the best out of. You see really good managers in periods like that because they can work with things that they're not used to. So they go into a different environment. They have players that they've never worked with before, and they can make something out of it. I do think there's a 2-season long manager. I think like anything short.
Well, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Chaz got me thinking. Real Madrid is quite an anomaly of a football club, but the way Ancelotti quickly went there and got things going again as well, and the way Zidane, maybe Real Madrid is a bad example because they just seem to. They're winners. They're just winners. They're the biggest and best club in the world. I don't know. But I was just trying to think of an example.
But I think the reason Real Madrid work is because everyone that is in the leadership team probably is on exactly the same page and knows what they want. So it's easier to slot in there. It just feels like Tottenham are a lost puppy. It feels like Daniel Levy has no idea what to do football side, and that's why they struggle.
It does give me shades of old Arsenal, maybe the United regime, and there's something there that's just they're not quite getting it together. As you said, everything is not. They're not all on board together. A lot like I can't really put my foot on it. I just think Spurs need a direction. They're really losing a sense of direction at the minute, and they've got to be careful because I think there's a serious chance that Harry Kane could leave this summer.
I do agree with what you said. Direction. I do agree with that.
Going back to the project thing quickly. Like, I don't think that a project needs to be in every single club everywhere, but I do think that nowadays you need to give people more time to actually to put their views in onto the pitch effectively and work with everyone around there. If you're giving people no time at all to work, I do think it hurts you nowadays.
I think commercially, as I said, they're really doing well off the pitch. They just need to get it right on the pitch at the minute as well. And I don't know. I don't know. What do you think of solutions, Chaz? Do you have any solutions for them? Not like you want them to be solutions, but if you were a Spurs fan, if you were even part of the Spurs board,
if you asked me as the owner of the club, I would be going down. I would scrap what I'm trying to say. I just wanted to get talk about both sides of the sort of direction or strategy, but I would be probably going for more fresh ideas, try and get the players on board with a manager that effectively a project or a process. Because I agree with what you're saying, Nick. As in, I don't see a lot. I don't know how many players, but let's say 50% believe in Conte and 50% don't, in my opinion.
How long has he been there now? Has it been just over a year?
Over a year, I think.
Like, are we like Chaz alluded to at the start? Are we being harsh because I think the points tally is really deceptive, and what they've achieved in terms of getting top four and where they are now? I think that can really skew your mind and judgment if you don't look at the style of football and the unsettledness of Conte. Like, there's a lot of context to it than just.
Yeah,
I know there are only 2 points off United, for God's sake, and it's like we described United as like on the rise and having a really good progress, but that just shows you how you can be. I think I said this to Chaz last season, how you can be near each other in the table but be in complete different camps and mindsets. Like, you could be like head and head, like fall from fifth, but there could be such a big gap contextually, if you know what I'm trying to say, rather than just the actual position.
Because you can still pick up results, and that's actually what Spurs have been doing.
Like, I watched their
many times. I
watched their game.
Many times they've gone behind in the game and then just managed to get some points at the end of it.
No, I watched their game against Palace here. They won 4-0, but that wasn't a 4-0 game. I watched the first half. Palace were the better team, and Spurs, Harry Kane's brilliance kind of got them out of jail, and then Palace just collapsed after that. So I think it does give me shades of. I've seen it with my manager, and I don't know with. I feels like it's papering over the cracks whenever they do win a game of football. I mean, it's interesting. We're going to preview this big game this Sunday. So, and do you lot think, lastly on Spurs, do you lot think Harry Kane is going to stay beyond next summer or not? Or do you think this season really he's now or never to leave?
Where does he go?
I got a feeling United are going to go in for him. I got a feeling. Yeah. I've got a feeling. I just, something's telling me we're setting everything up to go for Kane in the summer.
Yeah, I've got a feeling he might leave. I mean, even Bayern Munich are apparently really interested as well.
Yeah, Bayern have always had that. Who knows? I don't know if Newcastle do. I don't know if because they got Isaac, they got Wilson. I'm not sure if they would want him. But I
think he'd leave in this current state. If they show some ambition with another route, then I don't know. But I think currently he's probably thinking he's got to win a trophy before he finishes his career.
Yeah, but how long's his deal? How long's the deal left?
I don't know if there's that long left. No,
I thought it's still going to be like 3 years, isn't it?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure. Chaz can double fact check it how long he's got on his deal, but I can't see him sticking around if they don't show any more ambition. He's been patient enough with that football club, so I can't see him sticking around for another project. He ain't got time for another project. He needs to go and win trophies. And I'm just thinking, if we can do what we wishful thinking. If we can do what we've done with Van Persie, quickly getting a 29, 30-year-old, get Kane to shoot us to the title next year.
His contract expires 2024, 30th of June.
Oh shit! That's next year, Ollie. That's next summer.
Okay. Next summer.
So he's gonna have the ball in his court to leave the club in next summer. Like he can easily force a move out of that.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't contract at 24.
Well, sorry.
He signed a 6-year contract at 24.
Oh, 24 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You signed a mega contract. Yeah.
It doesn't say on that whether that's completely correct, but it doesn't.
No,
say
I think I heard it, Chaz. I was watching the Big Six. I think I heard that he's deal 1 year left at this summer.
Yeah, so they're either having to sign him on a bumper deal or they're going to sell him. So
massive, big summer for him and Spurs because that he is Mr. Tottenham, mate. He is their whole team. If they didn't have him now, Jesus Christ, like he is so. If you can think of the Premier League right now of a player of their importance to one team. I don't know if they're bigger than Kane at Spurs.
Yeah,
no, I agree.
Yeah.
He's so good. We know how good he is. We don't need to go into how good Harry Kane is, but although actually Ollie was slandering in the whole World Cup, to be fair. So.
Yeah, he didn't have a good World Cup. He didn't have a good World Cup.
He's hit the ground running, to be fair, in the Premier League. So So just to get a quick roundup on Spurs, do you want to say? I know we weren't doing predictions, but do you think they'll get top 4?
No, I think we should do predictions because we had a recap anyway, kind of in it. I
No.
don't think they will. No, I don't think they will.
Are we
United
saying our
will.
top 4? Have we actually said our top 4 then? Or
Not really. I guess by the time we've wrapped the
'Cause
other
two places are taken for sure, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
not yet. Let's wait till we get to the other teams and then we'll see.
all right.
I have to do mine now.
But 2023, cue the return of Senio, and he will get his little opinions on Spurs if he's still on this planet right now.
United, I know 3 that are definitely in it.
Okay, all right. Just all right. Forget that. Anyway, Spurs covered.
On
We
to
moved.
Chelsea or Liverpool? What do you want to go?
We got Liverpool right behind
Liverpool
them. So
behind them, Liverpool, yep.
yeah, I mean, if you want to get to Chelsea, you're gonna have to go through Fulham, Brighton, and Brentford just to get to Chelsea. Oh, what a shambolic football club!
Yeah, that's horrific.
All right, go on.
There's a lot coming from you after beating some relegation teams.
Listen, Chaz. It's a process. I said this. Yeah, we've got beat what's put in front of you. We take it one game at a time. Yeah, one game at a time.
One game. Was it?
What?
What's that? You're not a fan of the Big Six, okay?
Wait, what was that? I'm a big fan of it. What did you do there?
One game at a time.
Is that what they do? Normally, I listen to it on audio.
That's what Cam did. That's what Cam did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You watch a recent one then?
Yeah.
Fairs.
Yeah, it wasn't Saeed, so I don't know what he does.
Saeed just waffles, mate. He just waffles.
Right, go on then. Delve into Liverpool, Ollie.
Yeah, I'll start off then. Sorry. Liverpool, a bit of a weird one. Klopp seventh season.
Oh, the curse.
Having a bit of a cursed season at the minute. I don't know what it is about them this season. I don't know what's affecting them. The biggest thing I think that's clear for everyone to see is their midfield isn't working at the minute. I don't know why that is, or because really,
why haven't they addressed
there
it?
isn't that much change. Like I know people have been in and out of injuries, but they still have. Last season, their midfield was Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho, with a few injuries rotating in and out. But there's no reason that all those players are still there. I know there's injuries and stuff like that, but it just feels like they're not working at times. Like you're seeing Chamberlain come in, and one of the biggest key things. I know I mentioned midfield, which I do believe is what's hurting them. Mane is the biggest hole in that team you could give. Like Núñez hasn't hit the ground running. There's just something right now that isn't working at Liverpool, and I know a few people have been saying like they need big money spending on them and stuff like that. I don't particularly believe that. I think that they could buy one or two more, maybe try and fill a bit of a hole, get a proper midfielder in, get another winger or what have you. But I don't know. There's something that's not working as smoothly as it was in previous seasons. I don't know whether that's fitness levels or intensity of training, whatever it be. But I couldn't put my finger on it and tell you that's the issue.
It's just natural decline of some of these players. They're getting older now. Van Dijk obviously isn't the same player he is. Salah is dropped off a little bit. Fabinho is a shadow of his former self. Like that spine that got them through, all these, winning all these major trophies is like, it's a natural thing in football. They just need to start rebuilding now. They need to rebuild again. And
obviously, do they need a real rebuilding job though?
Well, they are. They've already started rebuilding. They started probably last January or even before that. They try. Remember Luis Diaz was probably the start of it, and you got Núñez. They're trying to they got Gakpo. They've almost signed a whole new front three in the last year. And obviously the two youngsters, we've got Carvalho and Elliott, who are still young, but they're investing in them. The transition isn't going as well as we mentioned about City's transition. Basically, City's transition is a lot smoother. I know they have more money, all blah blah blah, but they haven't spent stupid amounts of money in recent times. City anyway, so City are just run But I mean, they lost their director, Michael Edwards, who was really important to their whole kind of operation, how it worked. So that probably hit them quite hard. That kind of hurt them. But I think we got to start. I know he seems untouchable. We got to question Klopp just a tad, just because.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he just similar to the way we spoke about Conte. I think he just shows a little bit of naivety. And I don't think he has that much good in-game management. He doesn't. He's very, very stubborn in his way of football, and I think it's his way or the highway. He's not showing that tactical flexibility.
I think the reason it's hard to judge him is because he's done so well at Liverpool.
He's done brilliantly. Everyone would cut your right hand off just to have half of what Liverpool have had in this last 5 years. And you as an Arsenal fan and me as a United fan, we're looking at maybe Liverpool as a staple, as an example, case study of where you can go when you trust the manager and believe in the manager. But they've now reached the end of that cycle. And we put a video out, didn't we, Chaz, just probably under a year ago, about how Liverpool reached the end of their cycle. They definitely did. We were stand corrected at that point. We said in the video they did reach the end, and they had reached the end of their cycle. And let's see if he can rebuild and get the other cycle going, because he signed another deal till I think it's till 2025 or 6. So he's there to stay. So let's see if he can rebuild. But he's never done it in his career. He's never rebuilt a team. So
this is it, isn't it? It will show his flowers if he can actually do it. Keep the sustained winning mentality going.
What are you saying?
From my point of view, I agree. He has to be questioned in the sense of not necessarily questioned about losing your job, but just can you do it? Because every club you've come in, almost rebuilt them at the start into a winning team, and then not been able to do it. Now, I'm confident I think I said this on probably the previous video that we did about them, but I was confident that they can, but the question marks are starting to see. And the biggest thing for me, you spoke about other players, and Ollie briefly said it, that midfield for me is... And I don't know if Klopp is being stubborn in the sense of he's not addressing it. I don't understand why. For me, the biggest issue is the midfield, and I think they need to spend big money just on the midfield and forget about keep signing forwards and keep signing everywhere else. I know Van Dijk's declining certain players in there, but when the defence has no cover from a midfield, no cover in front of you, it's very, very difficult. And, I know they're the ones that concede the goals. So, start blaming defenders, Trent, whoever. But big teams, Chelsea's, Arsenal's, United's, City's, the midfield have to dominate these games. They have to be in control of football matches. And that game against Brentford showed me that they're not in control against a lot of teams. Yeah. That was very naive by Klopp, by the way.
Do you know what about that? You said that about the midfield. Everyone used to scrutinise their old midfield of Fabinho, Henderson and Wijnaldum, and they were like, it's quite boring, quite robust and kind of mechanical. But when you think about it, and the way Klopp wants to play, he doesn't really want to play, with creative, technical midfielders. He kind of lets... he lets his fullbacks be the creators, and he lets his forwards kind of get involved. And he lets obviously Firmino was a false nine. He used to drop in and get involved with the create. But that midfield was such a well-functioned, well-drilled midfield. It was
had such a hold, didn't
it? High press, high energy. But do you think, just a question for you then, do you think signing Thiago was a mistake then, in the sense that did it not fit the profile of what Klopp had been going for?
I don't mind Thiago so much, but they need to address the other positions with him.
No, but do you think the profile of Thiago was a mistake? It wasn't. Maybe Klopp wanted to evolve and show that he can fit in technical players like a Thiago in there or not? Or do you think he should have
potentially? I mean, he would have looked way better at someone like City. Let's be honest.
I don't actually think Thiago's worked at Liverpool personally. The amount of injuries he's had, the amount, I don't actually feel like he's had a proper foothold in that midfield, consistently, let's say. You said about
he was quite important still last year, though, wasn't he? Remember,
he would, but
he had good games.
They were last day of the season from winning the league, so...
No, exactly. No, and he done that great. Remember, he got the great assist for Mane on that last game as well. He had great games. I just think, obviously, Ollie said with the injuries and he wasn't quite consistent. I just think maybe he lacks what I was just saying, Chaz. He lacks maybe the physicality of what Liverpool have had before in that midfield.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But then I'd just be looking at why has it not been introduced in the other positions with the three in midfield.
Yeah, I see what you're
Like,
saying. Right?
if he had Fabinho, the real Fabinho, behind him, and Henderson charging about, he's dropping off. We haven't spoke too much about it, but when Trent was getting ridiculed, when he had a good season, was because Henderson was there to cover him.
Yeah.
Now that's another missing part into that sort of structure of Liverpool because they ain't got someone to do that. I mean, I said about being naive. Harvey Elliott may be a big talent, and they see him go into places, but going up, bringing him, Thiago, etc. against Brentford, it doesn't seem it just seems stubborn.
I worry about someone like Harvey Elliott. I don't know. I don't want to prejudge it too quickly, but I don't know if he's as good as people are made out to be when he came through at Fulham and joined Liverpool. Like, I don't know whether he's going to reach these levels. I've seen glimpses, but he really does lack it on the physical side, doesn't he? Like, he really can't get himself about the pitch. I'm more confident.
But that's what I mean. I can't. Go on.
I'm more confident in Carvalho than I am with Elliott succeeding.
Yeah, but both of them, if Klopp's going to leave them out to dry, and not address things around them, then I think it's just so tough for him to fulfill his potential if that's going to be the case. It's like, we've spoken about Arsenal and how you've got to think about how important that midfield has become for us, Partey, Xhaka and Odegaard.
Yeah,
where
you
we
lose
are.
one.
Forget about Xhaka and that scoring goals. Exactly, yeah. So that's where I stand with him, and I think it's stubborn that he hasn't addressed it. I don't know why. I don't know why he's doing
the way
that.
to flip it. The only thing I'm going to flip it is that I trust Liverpool to get back to a decent level. I know. I
do agree with that.
They looked like they were going back to a good level until the Brentford game. They were on like a 4 or 5 game winning streak, but they kind of got lucky against Leicester on the way as well. But with the likes of Gakpo, Jota, Diaz, Nunes, and Salah, I just feel like it is going to click at some point. And if they do get that midfield address, Chaz, and I'm thinking of names like Bellingham, Caicedo, players like that, then we're going to be talking about them so differently in like a few months' time.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, and that's all I'm.
But we're only addressing the current situation of them,
Yeah.
and at the minute they're doing what Chelsea have done. They're not addressing the main problem in their team, the midfield. And but just the. I know Ollie looks like he's ready. He looks like he's either going to take a shit or ready to shoot. One of the two.
I'm waiting I was hoping we could get the Liverpool one done, and then I can just leave you two with Chelsea.
No, I was just going to say with Liverpool, I think they're going to get top 4.
I agree with you.
I think Liverpool are going to get it. I think they're going to get it from the manager and the firepower they do have. I think they will be in the top 4, whether it's 4th or 3rd.
I've got them in my top 4.
Yeah. I don't know what you're saying, Chaz.
No, I agree.
You agree as well, yeah?
Yeah.
I think they're going to get it. They're going to get it. Yeah,
I think, to be honest, Gakpo might even have the Diaz effect of last year.
Yeah, when they get some players back, Jack, just from the experience
of life. Yeah, I agree.
That's the thing. They can do it. They can do it. You keep saying it, Chaz, about like, can Arsenal do it? Liverpool can do it down the wire.
Experience, yeah. Although they got a tough game this weekend.
Yeah, they got
Brighton away.
Right. Oh shit!
Right, I'm going to leave you two to finish off the Chelsea one.
Right.
All right,
and see you later.
I just realised Ollie was repping that Arsenal hoodie thing. I just realised it after.
Yeah, I just clocked that.
But yeah, that was So yeah, me and you have both gone Liverpool in the top 4. And just to round it up, we can do a little bit more on Liverpool before we go into Chelsea. I think all these players, I think Nunes will become a success in the long term. I think he's been okay. I just think we know what he is. He's an erratic player. He's been the butt of the joke this season, hasn't he, really? He's been the most ridiculed player on social media by a mile.
Yeah.
He's not my style of player. Don't get me wrong. He's not my style of player whatsoever. I don't find him pleasing to watch or anything like that. But he does cause chaos, and he's just not taking advantage of that chaos at the minute. He's just not... he scored a great goal the other day in the FA Cup, but he's not reliable, is he, at the minute? He's a 22-year-old guy that's just come over. He's had one good season in Europe, realistically, and he's still going to take time. But I think he will be a success for them. I don't know how good, but I think he'll be good. I think he'll...
Yeah, I agree with that. I suppose that's what they were banking on, having other players step up to let him nurture himself in, but it hasn't. All the pressure, all the eyes has been on him really since he come
Yeah,
in.
yeah. I think he just
And
it's
maybe
unfortunate
they
he's
hoped a
joined.
little bit more output from Salah in that area, but
It's unfortunate that he's joined a team that's unsettled at the minute, and
yeah,
the front three isn't quite now. We've got Gakpo involved. We don't know the starting front three until we see who deserves to be in that front three. The midfield isn't sorted. Defensively, they've one stat with Liverpool to bring up. I think chances against this season about teams that have conceded the most chances in the league. Liverpool rolling around with the relegation lot in terms of conceding the most chances. So that is a real worry. And that goes down to what you said about midfield. They are they
they
get
give
bypassed. They
opportunities.
get
Yeah,
absolute like they are Chaz, and it really kind of moves on to the fact if it wasn't for Allison, they could be a whole lot. Well, like we both stressed about how much we rate Allison and the importance of him to that team. Yeah,
yeah,
if he wasn't there and they had a an average keeper, I'm telling you, Chaz, they'd be in Chelsea position. They'd be in 10th place right now because they are letting chances just up for ease. That honestly it's a worry. That for me, if I was a Liverpool fan, that would scare me. That would the way they're conceding that many chances every game.
yeah. I agree.
A real worry, and that's the naivety Klopp shown at the minute this season. But as we said, I think they'll get top four just because of the firepower and the know-how. That's all. I don't think they're going to have a great season. I just think they're going to nab into the top four. I think that'll be. I don't think they'll win any trophies, in my opinion, either.
No, I agree.
Chaz, they luckily got through. They luckily got a replay the other day. They should have been out.
Yeah,
against Wolves. And that's a Wolves team, Chaz, that made 8 changes, and Liverpool played their starting team at home at Anfield. They've got a worry. There's a worry there, They're, I know I've said they'll get it, but that doesn't mean everything's rosy for Liverpool just if they get top 4.
Yeah, I'm just the longer it goes, though, I just don't understand the naivety.
I'm sure if we go 5 more games deep into the season and they're still losing maybe 2 or 3 out of them 5, I think we'd start to worry about their top 4. We would start to worry. As games go on, we're expecting them to turn it around, I feel like. But I feel like we'll start to worry if they don't turn it around soon, I do feel like that.
Yeah. And that's especially with the rivals. So I don't know who you're putting as your other team in the top 4, but you think of yourselves, United, you're on a winning run whilst they're still trying to work out, a lot of things.
I just want to put out there things can change. Obviously, things do
change quickly. Okay, let's talk about the lowest team of the top 7 currently, sitting in 10th place. And things haven't started well for Potter, so Chelsea, take me away. I don't know if you've even realised, but I did my own video on Chelsea.
No, I need to catch up with both your videos. I've not been. I'm going to catch up with them tonight, to be fair. But Chelsea, mate. No, they are the biggest enigma of the whole season. They are. I can't. I said in part 1, we need a whole segment for Chelsea because I can't even begin. I don't even know where to start with that football club at the minute. Todd Bowley has just come in and just I don't even know what has he done, Chance? I don't know. I don't know what he's done. He's done things, but I don't know what exactly he's done at the same time. He's tried. You can tell he's trying to do things, but it's all a bit of a fucking kerfuffle, isn't it, at the minute?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of changing plans. So at first I feel like the plan was whether initially, but you had Tuchel in charge. Let's spend big, let's make some statement signings, let's get Chelsea back to where they are after the ownership transition. And now, in my opinion, I don't know if he could just change it by sacking Potter next week, but I think he's gone down, let's go for a project and let's invest money in a manager for 5 years. Let's buy new staff. Let's buy young players. And he's a bit stuck with a load of dead wood at the same time, they need a whole rebuild.
I did say in an unreleased video of ours, I do think they'll be back sooner than people think. And I'm still sticking with that. I still stick because they're trying their best. They're just fucking up at the minute, and there's no. We talked about Spurs and no direction. Chelsea really don't know where they're heading at the minute, but it does worry me. His ambition is there. His ambition is there. He wants to do. But remember, he's new to this sport, isn't he? I realise this is his first ever football club he's taken out. Like he doesn't. He needs some serious level experience heads within this sport industry in this game to really help him out here, because he's got all the money in the world to splurge at the minute. More, what do they say? More money than sense. That's really what it is, and it's just a mess. Like, how do we address? So they made all them summer signings. They got rid of Tuchel in October. He gave Tuchel Aubameyang. Tuchel gave the go ahead for a few other players, whether it's Cucurella, Koulibaly. None of them have done. None of them have been successes so far. Not a single one of them. I'm trying to think if there is any.
The summer window in particular was a disaster.
It was just crazy. Do you remember Cucurella was nailed on for City, and Chelsea just blow him out the water and spent 63 million? And I'm not writing off Cucurella just yet, because I really rated him at Brighton as well. That's the thing. So I'm not gonna. We don't know until they find. Do you know what's hard with this Chelsea team? Unless they've been underperforming for years now, I'm not going to prejudge many players until they find the right system and platform to succeed in, because it's too much of a mess and a jumble at the minute to start judging players, new players. We can judge ones that we know that we're confident on that they're not going to be successes, like a la Aubameyang. We both didn't rate that transfer in general, and that's been a disaster. I don't know if you saw today, there's talk of him going back to Barcelona.
Yeah, I would accept that straight away. Get rid.
It is mental. It is. Yeah, I tell you one though, Koulibaly has been a disaster. He has been an absolute Chaz. He's been a 2 out of 10 signing so far, genuinely. The name we know of Koulibaly for years, decade in Serie A, Napoli, he was always that guy, wasn't he, Chaz? Do you remember when every club wanted a new centre-back? He was the first name we all got, like Arsenal, United, Chelsea. He was the first. City wanted him to replace Kompany. He was always that guy, because we're like, wow, beast of a player, got everything, athleticism, experience. He's just looked like a fish out of water in the Premier League at the minute. Have they signed him too late, or is he just underperforming to what the level he is? Because he had a half decent World Cup. I don't think it was too good. People overrated it a little bit, but Chaz, he's been the worst of the lot for me. He's been a shocker. He's been shocking.
Yeah.
I've seen some stinkers from him this season, real bad ones.
Yeah, and in that position is so.
Rudiger, he replaced Antonio Rudiger, who was arguably for 2 seasons one of the top 5 centre backs in world football.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, that's a big downgrade. They thought they were getting a direct replacement. I think they really were confident about that one.
And it looks like they've pretty much replaced him already.
What do you mean? What, the Badiashile?
Badiashile, he's apparently been brought in to play left side of the centre backs. Whether it's
he's left-footed, isn't he? He's a left-footed guy. So I mean, what does that mean? So look, we got so much to dissect, because what does that mean for someone like Levi Colwill, who they've sent out on loan to Brighton, who's a left-footed youth academy centre back, who's always been highly touted when he was at Huddersfield on loan, had a great season last year. They've done this with Tomori. They've done it with Mark Gahey. They've done it with, to a certain extent, with Tammy Abraham. Look at Chelsea. They lack a number 9 right now at the minute. Like, when do they get control of this? It's so hard. This is where I don't know where to start with them. There's so many problems. Who's not good enough personnel-wise? Is Potter good enough? I need to ask you that question, because I think you laughed a little bit. Do you remember when me and Ollie were talking about just prior to the World Cup? Before they lost to Newcastle in the very last game for the World Cup, we were talking. Ollie posed the question: Is Potter under the threat of sack if he doesn't get things going straight after the World Cup? And I think you kind of laughed a little bit.
I don't think he is.
Why though?
I don't think because I think Bowley's bought. Whether the fans are putting pressure on him, and I've seen a lot of
Chelsea fans. Some of them are really they're out. They want him gone. They think he's out of his depth.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've seen a lot of hate, and well, no, that's all I could say is my opinion. If he goes and sacks him, then he goes and sacks him. Then I was wrong. All I see is him going down this project route. So I think he's trying to put everything into Potter, the staff, and then give him a load of players. Whether there's a time limit on that, I don't know. but I don't think
Chelsea
he'll
fans
be.
are not used to this, are they? They're not used to
No,
this.
no.
Let's wait around.
I said
for
this in my
manager.
video. Yeah, I said this in my video, and I said if this is the route that I believe they're going down, or he's going to go down,
Yeah.
which is that's the evidence I think, because they're buying a lot of young players as well. People, I don't know if everyone realizes how many youngsters they've signed and stuff like that.
Oh, mate, like
even last year, you said it last year.
Youth level players from like 19 or under, they've signed some world talent, some serious talent.
They're trying to get the best out there.
For me, that's the positive part I can pick out of this Chelsea, like the regime, because you see the way we laud the likes of Benfica, Borussia Dortmund, Porto, Ajax, teams that nurture talent and sign them early, from South America and teams like that. Chelsea are getting these players in before they go for big money. They're actually signing these top Russian, Ivorian, South American talents before they actually make the big money moves. So that's I don't know whether is that like a system they want to do. Is it only a business model to move these players on for a bit? I don't know if it's that, or do they actually want to nurture these players into their first team in the future? I'm not sure what it is. But
that's a question, because they've always gone down that route of having like so many players in the loan system,
and it worked. It worked, to be fair, a lot of the time. Like they still succeeded whilst like loaning and selling these players on for more money. But that's the only positive I can pick. But sorry, back to your thing about Potter, because I think I'm still a big fan of Potter. I think I rate Eddie Howe over Potter when we compared the two, but it was very close, and I'm not going to be short-sighted and just undermine everything he'd done at Ostersund's, moving on to Brighton, Swansea, then to Brighton. I think it's admirable. I think you really admired the journey he came on to get to where he is, and you'd be a fool to just completely blame it on the manager. But the only worry I have for him is the personality. I don't know if he has the personality to cut it out at this current time at a big club. Is he going to have to learn from this, get sacked, and go again? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I do get that opinion. I do understand.
Well, he got kind of asked the question about journalists. You're not showing your anger, and he goes, "Well, obviously, I don't show that in press conferences. I'll probably show it in the dressing room behind closed doors." But some of the quotes he's coming out with, like today, even I saw he was using examples of Arteta, Klopp, Pep when they first joined. Things didn't go well. But I don't think he should be bringing that up in a press conference, because it sounds desperate. I feel like it sounds a bit desperate that he's almost asking them to give him time by giving other examples. I think you should keep your mouth shut and kind of just get on with it behind closed doors, rather than release it, show distress to the press.
I don't think he should go down the route of talking to the press. So if he did them quotes, then
that just came out today.
Because he should know if he's backed or not. Like, he just needs to ask Bowley, let's be honest.
Exactly, you don't need to justify it to the public.
If Bowley says that you're not getting sacked this year or whatever, then he knows he's backed. So I just spoke about I think there's three elements of this. And I said the club, which is obviously like your staff, your owner, etc., etc. I think the vibes are that he's on a project sort of mission here.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think he will. 100%. That's why I think he will get time at least this season. But I know you got to prove your worth this season. But still, one thing that's always key, and we just spoke about it, is the fans. The fans have to be on board with this project. Now, whether I don't know how they're gonna portray that it's a process, like a lot of
all these buzzwords in it.
How Arsenal did to Arsenal fans, really. Yeah. Arsenal were clowned about the believe in the process, and I said I didn't believe in the process because I wanted him out at one stage.
Yeah, look at me now. I'm in that process as well. So it's just...
So whether they can portray that to Chelsea fans or not, I'm not sure, because I think a lot of Chelsea fans hold the enigma of the Abramovich. Let's just get another World Cup. Let's just go now get Simeone. Let's go get this name.
Yeah.
Like, this is the route I think he's invested with. So for him to have any hope, I think he has to be backed by the fans. And then the third part was obviously the players. Now, I think there's too many bad eggs around. Like, not necessarily bad influences, but obviously Aubameyang's. I think Azpilicueta's seen his day.
He did finish for a while, yeah.
I think for me at this club, you have to be cutthroat, and I think you have to start looking at Havertz.
So
Ziyech's. There's a lot of players there.
I agree with you on Abramovich. thing.
For other people, go on.
No, I just think that he was a unique, special owner that you're not going to see many times in any kind of industry, let alone football, where he put his heart and soul into that, and he was so involved and invested into the club. You don't normally get that with owners like that. And even though Bowley's showing it, he's trying to show it. It's not quite the same. It's not the same. It doesn't have that knowledge that Abramovich had of people in the football industry.
Yeah.
But you're right. If we're going to talk about the players, like you said, I don't know when you say cutthroat, go on. Who are you saying? Like they've really got to.
I would get rid of Havertz, Ziyech, Aubameyang,
Pulisic,
Azpilicueta, Pulisic.
Listen, Mason Mount's holding a lot of slander. I know you backed him during, but have you heard of the rumors of him wanting 300 grand a week? It's on that, this guy's not a 300k a week player.
If he thinks he's asking for that after the performances, it's stupid.
No, he's been shocking this season as well. He's in another one. Obviously,
Koulibaly already.
Everyone's been shocking. So I know it looks like we're slandering the whole team. There's obviously players that are underperforming their level at the minute, like that. Like there's obviously players that obviously will be good in a more settled system.
I just think a lot of them players, for this to potentially work, I said this. From Brighton, I think 90%, maybe even all of them, believed in Potter. I think all of the names I just suggested getting rid of don't believe in Potter. So for it to work, in my opinion, he might have to transition a hell of a lot of players. Like you see how we spoke about Arteta getting players that believe in him.
Yeah,
you know, get rid of Aubameyang if you don't buy into it. And he's coming late to training. Get rid of him. I know he got slightly lucky with a lot of youth, but I don't know if you go down that route. Where I don't know.
He's inherited.
I don't know exactly who would believe in Potter, but
he's inherited players that were already unhappy. I know Ziyech definitely wanted to leave anyway before he even came in under Tuchel. So he needs to go. Even though I rate him highly as a footballer, he needs to go. There's players that don't want to. He's a very obvious example. He's really obvious.
They may excel elsewhere, but even Havertz, he might go back to Germany and look good. But I think it's time now. You got to cut.
Well, Timo Werner's gone back and looked half decent back at Leipzig again.
You just got to make decisions and do it now. And if they're not performing right now, and you might have another player that believes on you believe in, like if he even Potter, I'm not saying you sign the whole of Brighton. But you see how they've signed Cucurella.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that Potter would be looking at Cucurella saying he can turn his form around with this guy. Now, it may not because he's looked bad this season, but
there's a player in there.
Obviously,
we know there is.
Manager. Yeah. But I know it's difficult what I'm saying. It's almost changing a lot of players, like almost most of the squad. But
no, this is why I think this is why I'm going to compare it to United, and how I felt at the end of last season when we had our worst season ever in the Premier League, where you have to be sensible with it and think that some of these players will turn their form around once things start to, flip positively and there's a system there. There is players you've got to believe in, like Cucurella, like Wesley Fofana when he gets back from injury. I still like Kovacic as well, and there's Mason Mount. You can still be in and around the team. God knows what happens with Hudson-Odoi when he comes back as well. They don't need to completely revamp the whole squad, but they need to really be sensible and filter out who they really believe has had enough time now. I don't know what you think. Do they keep Jorginho? There's so many question marks around so many. Thiago Silva
on a little bit.
But Thiago Silva's at the end of his contract, so they got to be looking really at Fofana and Badiashile as their future centre-back partnership now, which is good. It's for me and you both be the first to say that sounds like a really promising partnership for France and for England. Sorry, not for England, and for Chelsea, as well. So Reece James, is he injury prone? We don't know. He's their best player. We know he's their best player, but is him and Chilwell going to stay injury prone? Do they need like solid backups for them? I'm sure they do. Both goalkeepers in question, both of them, Kepa and Mendy, none of them have claimed to be number one in the last 6 months.
Yeah, they probably need to buy another goalie. Really.
They've signed the great young talent, the American Slolina or whatever, the goalkeeper, but he's obviously for the future. It's a bit of, it's just hard. But all right, I'm going to play devil's advocate and throw this out there. Why? So Ten Hag has been at United probably for about 2 more months than Potter's been at Chelsea, yeah? I would say, yeah, because Potter came in after
Yeah.
a couple months into the season,
Yeah.
or maybe it was 3 months or whatever. Yeah, why is it looking better from United's point of view than it is for Chelsea when both teams had similar issues with players that you couldn't trust? The direction wasn't there. The board wasn't on the same page. There was a bit of a mess of a transfer windows for both teams in past seasons. Why is there a difference? Is it manager? Is it the coach? What is it? If you had to pick the difference,
Um,
because it's not too dissimilar where the clubs were and kind of who they've appointed.
I suppose it's just down to the fact of the players' form or the players' performance, because I don't know really if you can just say in that thing who's a better manager because he's done this.
Yeah.
But also I still think there's a thing. I know it's hard because I can't really fact check who believes in it, but I think there's players in that dressing room that believe in Ten Hag. I don't think there's many that believe in Potter right now.
So you've hit the nail on the head. My first word I think of is that his personality. That's what I think of. Yeah. I think Ten Hag imposed himself quick onto United, whereas Potter as a person, I'm not. Maybe they're similar on a coaching aspect on the technical side of the game and tactically.
Yeah.
But as a personality, I think Ten Hag has mentioned the word culture a lot more, and that he's tried. That's the first thing he wanted to do, was change the culture and impose himself on this football club and make sure everyone knows he's the boss and no one is bigger than him or the club. No one steps over the line. Potter's yet to do that, isn't he? He hasn't got he hasn't got hold of the dressing room yet and bollock them. He just hasn't got it. The charisma, the personality is just missing, and that's the only thing I worry about. I think we forget about that as a manager sometimes, as like what you need to be to be. We know what one of the best ever, in your opinion, is obviously Sir Alex. Half of his greatness was down to his personality, and his charisma. You know, he could control a room, couldn't he? He could grip a room. He could shit the life out of his players and his staff. And he would make sure. Management. And that's the one thing I've lauded Ten Hag about. I think his best attribute so far has been his man management, and Potter is lacking that. So if I was to compare the two, I just said it's probably that. I think that's the main thing at the minute: getting people on side, getting players to believe in your.
Yeah, no, I agree, because that's almost like I'm saying. I think Potter needs the almost Arteta style, where I don't think Arteta was that good at man management initially.
He learned. I think Arteta started to. He learned.
Yeah, he's learned on the job, but then, as I said, transitioned in players that agrees with him and believes with him. So
it's going to be a very, very sticky season for Chelsea. I think they got to get strapped up for that. I think
that's the only thing I would say is then if you play devil's advocate to what I'm saying, and so say you believe that he's got time, he's got till the end of the year, or got longer than that. They built into this that it's a project over, say, a process for 2-3 years. So yeah. So does it just not matter where they finish?
Yeah. So this is what Chelsea fans have said. You can't, and United fans, Goldbridge especially. I remember you can't keep writing off seasons just because. We got to believe it. He's still got. This is the biggest, hardest thing to describe. He's still got a good enough squad of players that are all Champions League winners and things like. He can't let it slip to an unfathomable kind of position in the league, because I don't know if he can come back from that. I think if it carries on sliding down, you almost are forced. You kind of force your hand to make a change. You kind of have to do something about it. And obviously, we all know
that's the thing. I posed the question: are they ready for potentially? You see how Arsenal finished twice 8th with no.
They've got to be ready, Shaz. They've got to. So we're both in agreement they're not getting top 4 this season, yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you cut for a sec. You cut. That's why. We're both in agreement.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get top 4. It's just too much. It'd
be
a miracle, wouldn't it?
No, they've got to come to grips with that. Yeah, they've got to. So if it goes below 10th place, I worry for him. And the thing, I don't think he will stay. But they've got to at least end the season with a bit of optimism, a bit of hope, something there. There needs to be something to cling on to in it. Something, just get that they need a bit of. And they think João Felix. We may as well talk about that. Is going to be that, but is he just another piece of a puzzle that doesn't fit? It's just, and the structure of the deal about how there's no buy option. He's just extended his deal to up his price, his value. And there's talk of Barcelona already showing interest in him while he's on loan at Chelsea. They're looking at trying to get him. Like that's such a short-term fix, isn't it? It's and I thought they were supposed to. You told me obviously they're looking to go for this project, this long-term, but they're trying to find short-term solutions in a long-term. I guess you could say United are doing that with getting Weghorst, but there's a plan. There's a bit more of a plan, a profile, and a structure about it. Whereas Chelsea, I just don't know. I don't know what.
Yeah, that's why I can't be certain, because that's a little bit of a short term, and it's like we believe in you long term, but you still can't finish 10th this year.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you think though they should still be then trying to just get into like say the Europa League then, or a season out of Europe, or what we think?
No, they've got to try and get Europa League. At the very least, you've got to try and get into Europe. You've got to be competing in Europe.
Yeah.
Like you can't bow out this badly and start falling. You can't finish behind the likes of Brentford, Brighton, for example, or Fulham. Like it's especially
because they've got players that should be above that. I agree with that.
Exactly. Yeah, and Potter
should think that. Potter should think like that. He should think like, that's my Brighton team that I made, but I've got better players here.
Well, it's down to him now, as well as I'm happy. I'm all with you about believing in him. You've got to give him time and his project, and you've got to take into the fact we forget about the injury. They have a whole heap of injuries at the minute as well. But he's got to get the best out of his current squad. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Arteta done it by changing the formation. Ten Hag's done it. You can't tell me Ten Hag is exactly what he wants. He's got in his squad right now. He wants to change, probably wants to change half the team still. But they're still getting the best out of what they have. And I don't know if we can make an excuse for Potter to not get the best out of them. So it's going to be a sticky season for Chelsea. They got to better strap in, because I don't think it's going to be a nice season. But I'm just very interested to see how it all pans out, especially with Potter and Chelsea. All they've got is Champions League now. They throw all their eggs in that basket against Dortmund. I don't think they still should be too optimistic about it, because they'll eventually get exposed once they play a better team. Even if they do get past Dortmund, which they have the ability on a two-legged game to get past Dortmund. That's the thing. But, it's not looking good. And,
They've got a big game tomorrow.
Yeah.
A derby tomorrow. Okay. So, that's it wrapped up. That's our mid-season sort of, where we feel they are. Did you want to address a prediction, or we're not really doing that? Like a top four, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Your actual top four. Do you want to put it on paper?
I'll go for a top four. I'll go for it. I'll give you my revised top four. Do you think this is going to sound mental? Do you think we should do a part 3 with the other teams, like as in do the relegation, like you mentioned,
and actually go through a whole prediction of the table again, revised table sort of thing?
Yeah, I think that's a good. Even if it's just me and you, and it's not whoever it is on that, I think that's a good idea. It's more content, mate. At the end of the day. So,
give me a top 4 then.
Top 4, I'm going to go with Arsenal first. I know.
I knew it was coming. So.
No, but listen, I'm sticking with it the whole season, so that's it now. That's me strapped in. Arsenal first, City second, Liverpool third, and United fourth.
It's the same.
I don't want to. You see, I don't want to look like an idiot and say United getting top 4, because I always said at the start of the season I don't think we're getting top 4. I said this as well as a thing. I know this is the revised halfway point of the season.
I'm
keeping United out of it. I'm keeping United out of top 4. I'm gonna be sensible here. Liverpool. I'm gonna go Liverpool third. So top 3 is. Let me redo this. Yeah. Arsenal first, Manchester City second, Liverpool third, and Newcastle fourth. Fuck it, I've gone for it. I've absolutely gone for it. Fuck it, why not?
I'm going to go so tight, that fourth place. Anyway, my top three, I know that already. It's going
Okay.
City first, Arsenal second, Liverpool third.
Okay, cool. So that fourth spot is so hard to pick.
Yeah, for me, I'm trying to decide out of United, Newcastle, and Tottenham. I still think Tottenham will be around there.
Newcastle shouldn't finish above United. There shouldn't be a world in which they finish above them. That's the thing.
No, because I do agree with your take that I love them. I love what they're doing, but I think towards the end they're just gonna slip off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm keeping in mind because I United on my way to mending my heart. Yeah, the trust in that. I'm not quite ready to start dancing and twerking for United just yet. Let me just wait and see how things go first.
Okay, it seems a little bit mad, and there's probably a lot of fans that probably aren't going to agree or not, or probably think they're not getting top four. But I'm going to say Tottenham get it then.
Okay,
I'm going to go with the
that's
experience.
big statement in terms of the trajectory of the. Yeah.
I'm going with the Harry Kane firepower till the end of the year.
Or Veghorst.
Oh, you don't need to delve into that transfer.
I mean, I did famously make or break, but yeah. Anyway.
Okay, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate anyone for subscribing. Thanks for watching, and peace.